What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. And we're back for the waiver wire pickup show. No, it's coming out a little late. Hopefully you haven't made any transactions. They don't go through till tomorrow anyway, so this will be a good little reminder of, hey, get some of these guys because playoffs are coming and some of these guys have very juicy matchups. But before we get into that, I will be streaming tonight, so check that out. It's down there if you didn't know, just in case you didn't know. And quick reminder, I'm gonna be changing the format of how I do the starts and sits. Instead, I'm gonna do like a long formatted podcast. Hopefully it'll just be in the 40-minute area, but it'll still have like the same overlays. You'll be able to click through whichever matchup you want to know about. So it's just gonna be one big thing, and it helps me save some time with editing, and it's just gonna be a big help in general. So be on the look for that. That should be out sometime tomorrow, if not Thursday morning. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the nitty gritty, and we're gonna start with quarterbacks because honestly, these quarterbacks, they don't have the best matchup this week, but they will for your playoff schedule for those weeks 14, 15, and 16. And we're gonna start with Ryan Tannehill, who's been on a tear. He has been a monster. He's available in a lot of leagues, and I don't get why, because he's been playing some good football. And I mean, just look, this last game, 37 points, 40 or almost 40 points. The guy has not scored under 20 points since becoming the starter. And I know tough week this week against Indy. That's a tough matchup, but then he's got Oakland, Houston, New Orleans. So those are juicy matchups. Then another guy I know you ain't gonna like hearing, but Fitzmagic. He's producing. He's been producing well. He had 28 points just this past week. Philly is kind of a scary matchup for quarterbacks. The defense has played a lot better recently, but playoff schedule: Jets, Giants, Giants, and Bengals. So that's extremely juicy, and you could win a fantasy championship just by streaming quarterbacks. So keep these guys in mind before waivers go through tonight. And then let's go to the running backs. Apparently I don't want to go to the running backs. Hold up. And running backs, here we go. So this week we got, it's nothing good. Unfortunately, it's not as good as the quarterback is, but it's really, these guys are good for matchups this week. Jonathan Williams, he's got a really good matchup this week against Tennessee. They're 21st against opposing running backs, but his playoff schedule doesn't look that great. But he's available in a lot of leagues. Kalen Balazs, he's still a starter, but on the contrary, he's got a pretty good playoff schedule, being against the Jets, Giants, and Bengals. Mainly that Jets and Bengals matchup are really good. And I know Kalen Balazs is not a sexy name, but if you need someone in the flex, he's not a bad option. And then this is more so an outlier for you Chris Carson owners. I know y'all got scared once you saw Rashad Penny starting getting bulk of the carries. I don't think that's going to be the consistent, because this offense, it goes through Russell Wilson, but they love going through Chris Carson. I know he's had his fumbling issues, but it wouldn't be bad to get Rashad Penny as a handcuff if you are that Chris Carson owner. He went off, and if he does end up starting to dig into some of Chris Carson's time, you'd want to have Rashad Penny on your roster. And before we go into receivers, just go ahead and become a bro and subscribe and leave a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. Much appreciated, much obliged. Let's talk about receivers, and it's not looking too great for receivers. I got AJ Brown as my first one. I know it's almost impossible to predict where Ryan Tannehill will go with the football, but AJ Brown looked really good this past week. He's got a good schedule coming up as far as matchups. Let's take a quick gander at it. Oakland, Houston, New Orleans it's not a bad matchup, especially if Lattimore ends up missing extended time. So he's not a bad option. Robbie Anderson kind of takes more of a leap of faith. I know the past couple of weeks he's been able to get in the end zone. He doesn't see necessarily the volume. He doesn't see a lot of targets, but his targets are high quality. He gets them bombs. He gets them bombs, and he's been a target in the red zone. And guess what? Playoff schedule, not so bad. You got a tough, you got Cincinnati this week, Miami the following. Tough ones against Baltimore and Pittsburgh, but he's not a bad guy to just pick up and have for a couple of weeks. And Deebo Samuel's been amazing. He's been amazing. And it's wild because I'm assuming it looks like Emmanuel Sanders is still kind of feeling, I think it's his ribs that have been banged up. I'm not positive on that, so don't quote me. But he's been producing. He doesn't have a great schedule because he's got just finished with Green Bay. And I know the touchdown's really what put him over the edge here. But, I mean, dude, playoff schedule, you get the Saints, Falcons, and Rams. You got to be looking towards those playoffs. I know these guys won't get you there, but they might be able to get you a championship. And then Darius Slay has a really, really good schedule as well. Let's take a quick gander at Darius Slay. Okay, there we go. All right, Darius Slay. Upcoming schedule, tough one this week. Again, this guy won't get you to the playoffs, but we're looking ahead. Again, you got Philly, which they've been a little tougher, but you finish with Miami and Washington. That's a strong finish. Those are potentially strong games. He performs well against those teams that aren't that great, again, like that aren't good against wide receivers. Like against the Jets, he scored 29.5 PPR. Against Detroit, 18.5 PPR. Tampa Bay, 9.5 PPR. So he's got some viability in those week 15 and week 16 matchups. And then on to tight ends, which is a tough one to project, but hey, there's some guys out there. There really are. And let's start with Ryan Griffin. He just got an extension. The guy, he's been targeted in the red zone. He's been playing extremely well with Darnold. He's put up some really good performances. Just taking a look at his past few. Oakland, he went 3 for 13, but he had that touchdown. Washington, 5 for 109, that touchdown. 6 for 50 against Miami. 4 for 66 with 2 touchdowns. So he's been producing. He just got an extension. Chris Herndon is out for the rest of the season. So if you need a tight end, such a volatile position for fantasy football, Ryan Griffin's a good get. And then Eric Ebron just went down. He's out for the rest of the season. This gives Jack Doyle all of it, all of that share. I mean, I like him. If you really need, if you're in a bind, he's not available in a lot of leagues. He's only owned in 43.8% of leagues. But if you're in a bind, Jack Doyle, he should be one of your top options, top guys you're trying to get. Dallas Goedert's been extremely good these past few weeks. He's seeing a lot more volume there in Philly. And we know Ertz is always and forever probably the first option there. But just this week, he had 7 receptions on 8 targets. I mean, he hasn't had less than 3 targets since week 5. I'm just saying that's not bad. That he presents a lot of opportunity. And then Jacob Hollister, I know didn't produce this week, but he's got one incredibly juicy matchup, especially if you're going for that championship. For week 16, which is typically most of our championship games, he faces Arizona. And Arizona just loves giving points to tight ends. They're like, just take it. Take all of the points, all of them. That's what Hollister can be. So just go ahead, snag Hollister. You don't have to start him. He's got a few, like, it's not a great matchup this week against Minnesota, but against the Rams and against Panthers for your fantasy playoffs, you could do a lot. There's a lot worse options out there, but like I said, it's that championship, that week 16. He's got that sexy matchup against Arizona, so you should go get him. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. But until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.